It's the podcast.
It is. Someone said, I love the jazzy music. And I took it as she loved my little song.
They meant you, not the opening credits, which we can hear now.
It is the podcast on a Tuesday. Jazz.
That was wonderful. Thank you, NPR. What is this podcast about?
This podcast is about things that go on, dramatic things from the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group that we see and we want to chit chat about.
Maybe we should just do a podcast where we delete all the we just read all the deleted threads.
Oh, that'd be
just popcorn grabbing threads.
Yes. You guys, you dramatic people like to post in the middle of the night. You know, just about every time the admin's go to bed.
You said it. Corey's in bed at 9:30. I was in bed at 12. It's 1:30.
Amy wakes up at 4. There's a 3-hour window there.
So today's podcast, we wanted to talk about something that we saw in the group. And it's called Upsetspectations.
Upsetspectations.
Because a lot of times the issues in business are caused by incorrectly set expectations or no expectations set at all.
Yeah. I know that I experience it sometimes. Someone emails in. I'm like super jazzed about whatever theme they want.
We know you're jazzed. That we know.
Oh, I'm jazzed about whatever theme they want. So we get to chit-chatting about it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I've not hit them with the price tag on this bad boy. And I feel this sense of anxiety raising in me because I did not set the expectations with them. But now that we've gone through this whole, like we're best friends now, it's so hard to like just bring it up.
That would be an example of a late expectation. In my life, here's a great set expectation when not honored causes a lot of the angst that would not have existed if the expectation had been set correctly. When you are told that a package will be delivered on a certain day and it doesn't show up.
Yes.
And that's out of everybody's control, right? So we have UPS, we have this shop you bought from. When you get the delivery notification, hey, it will be out for delivery today, and suddenly you don't get the package, it becomes the only thought you have.
Yeah.
Versus had it been, imagine this, your package will arrive in a week, but you get it in 3 days. Are you delighted?
Delighted.
So now you're seeing, and a great example is Amazon's 2-day Prime. It's kind of not seeming so 2 days no more.
So a lot of times it is though. I'm not upset with Prime.
It's 2 hours. There's this protein powder I get. If I ordered it right now, it would be outside in 2 hours.
See, that's why
they're going to Walmart.
When I go to the checkout thing, if I don't see can be delivered today in the next 2 minutes, then I'm like, okay, you don't belong in my cart.
Right. But when you do order something from Amazon and you don't get it in 2 days.
I will say, when my car accidente, the thing that was big was that the wheel was
demolished.
It was demolished. The whole time, every time I've reached out to the collision repair company and everything, I'm like, do not forget this wheel. No problem. We promise, Corey, we're not going to forget the wheel.
Guess what they forgot?
They forgot the wheel.
And then they tell you that, okay, they're going to send a wheel repair company. And they forget to call the company, right?
I know. So when I go to pick up the car, they're like, we would really love a 5-star review. And I'm like, I would really love a fixed wheel.
Right, a cascade failure event of expectations. Because here's the thing. I want the wheel fixed. We'll fix the wheel. Okay, then you go get the car. Oh, the wheel's not fixed. I'm so sorry. I think they legitimately said they forgot. Yeah. We'll send a wheel repair company. Okay, the wheel repair company never comes. Yeah. You call them. Oh, we forgot to even call them ourselves.
Yeah.
So again, the expectations weren't set by you, and they could have said, listen, we'll have this fixed in a week and a half. Instead, they said, we'll call immediately. Didn't meet the expectation. Yeah. Well, we'll send someone immediately. Did not meet the expectation.
What sucks about it, they did a fantastic job on replacing the entire bumper, which is the majority of the damage. But I can only see this tiny, it's not tiny. But the scratches on
I like your piece of junk when I walked out.
Little scratch.
So what this podcast is about is the expectations that we either forget to set to our clients or the expectations we do set and incorrectly adhere to.
Yeah.
And I'll find when expectations are set correctly, a lot of problems are resolved.
Well, you don't end up in the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group at 1:30 in the morning saying, no customer bashing, please.
But here's my situation. Related, but so we have a list.
Crack this open.
Crack it open, buddy.
Oh, nothing like I'm going to put it in my little thing.
Crack it open, buddy.
Corey? This is just...
for those people who listen to this podcast and their ears, the tinnitus is kicking in because Corey's so loud. We invited my little sister to a beach trip once. So it was me, Corey, and my little sister. And it was the day we were going to leave. We had late checkout, so it was 11. And Corey, I don't know if you were looking for things to throw against the wall, but it was so loud. Finally, my little sister wakes up and she said, "You are the mother of loud. You are loud."
Listen,
and you were making
I don't know how to get you guys up. We have to be out.
Here's the key. I don't want to be up. I'll wake up when I want to be.
I don't like that stressful, like,
sit your butt down. You're always on your phone anyways. Get on your phone. So, okay, here's a list. Things that we see bakers get mad about, expectations they forget to set.
Yes.
So
and that
oftentimes,
comes to bite them in the button.
Yeah. So oftentimes you can't tell. That's why I always tell people when people come to the group and they say, "Hey, this client's upset." I said, "I hate to ask, but what was the policy before they got upset?"
Yes.
If there's no policy in place, guess what you get?
There are some of these that I'm guilty of.
Oh, absolutely.
And I sit in my anger stoop waiting for someone to come pick up their stuff.
So color accuracy. If you do not set this expectation ahead of time, you are welcoming in. And you may say, "Well, I must be fantastic at colors," or "My clients are colorblind because I've never had a complaint." You will have the complaint. It will be after it is too late.
Yes.
To set the expectation. So what was your disclaimer for this?
My disclaimer is oftentimes you can tell the customer who cares about the colors, because instead of saying like, yeah,
purple,
we're
they say
looking,
mauve.
they say mauve, ocean frost, and Denver, Colorado green. When they get, you can tell the people who care about colors. Yeah. And when they start saying those words are like, "Here's my theme colors," that's when I say I'm going to get as close as I can to it. Oftentimes,
that's the disclaimer.
Yes. Because if you do not say that and you're like, "Yeah, good, sounds good to go," and your mauve dries a little mauvey and it's a little too purpley, you're going to have a little pushback. And a lot of, like, when someone's like pink undertones, like, I don't even know how to do my makeup right. I don't even know what my undertone is. So when
cool,
you're like,
warm?
Yeah, cool or warm, that's when you really have to set the expectation for the customer. I'm going to do my best.
Right. I would say read into the client.
Yeah.
Here's the big takeaway. The cookie contract in the group, if you search that, you'll find a crowdsourced grouping of every complaint we've ever seen, and it has been addressed in a cute little written thing. So that's a great resource.
To that point, though. No one reads them.
No one reads them. Right. So you are bringing to light the ones you know you need to set.
Yeah.
So, you can say, "Well, read my disclaimers." Nobody's going to read them. We already know nobody will read them. When you're talking to a client who has a purpley side of mauve, you need to say, "Hey, on the color, in my disclaimers, bringing it to light for color, I try to get as close as possible." Now, here's a funny thing. Corey cannot see people.
I can't see people.
It's so wild because you don't know what colors you can't see.
I've never knew until someone said.
Corey made this cookie and it was like a purple knit sweater cookie.
It was great to me.
And we were like, "Oh, that's such a," and everyone can say it's such a cute purple cookie. And Corey's like, "It's great. It's great." She kept telling her, like, "What are you seeing?" Corey's like, "Oh, I cannot see that it's actually purple."
And then when we went to get new cell phones the other day, Heather was like, "I really like this purple color." It looked black to me.
So imagine how that's affecting your cookies with the mauve.
Yeah, so when anytime someone says, "Yeah, I want a purple thing," hey,
I have no idea what you want. I've never seen purple a day in my life. What was Barney to you? A giant green?
Like when you're a sharp purple, I can see it, I think.
It's that light.
It's the light purple. It doesn't. So one time, way back in the day, someone ordered mauve, which is a purpley color, but not to me.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, this is a little purple." I was like, "Oh, that's why I told you it's mauve," because I have no idea.
Assume that everybody is colorblind like Corey. But color accuracy, setting that one up when you, and it's not necessarily like, "Guys, you need to focus on color accuracy." This is a one we see people complain about. What I see is like, "Hey, the client wanted oranger tones. I came with pink tones. They said I ruined the baby shower." And that's like the big ones where color does have an influence on the party and the client is very upset.
Yeah.
So if you did not set the color expectations ahead of time, you know exactly what I'm going to say.
And that color expectations.
What am I going to say?
Refund. Yeah. That color expectation does not happen after you send them the final photo or they have the cookies in their hands.
This is a tinge bit of an issue about the sending the photo before the product's delivered. Here's another thing. Is it Corey's eye can't interpret the color purple? Cameras interpret color differently as well.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, if you want proof, that's what a filter is when you take a selfie and you're like, "Oh my goodness, I look horrendous. Let me add a filter." You just used your camera to artificially change the colors. Now let's imagine you send the client the picture. And I know you send the client pictures, right?
Every single time.
Do you send it when you don't think you did the colors right?
No, here's the
You don't?
Oh, I do regardless. Here's the thing. I always set the expectation that I'm getting the color close.
Right. If you didn't set the expectation, then you send the, hey, your cookies are ready, and the picture, and they don't like the color,
Yes.
you're kind of up a creek without a paddle.
But at least it's not cookies in hand. You've ruined my party. I can't use these cookies.
You know, it'd be a really interesting graphic to make. A picture of a cookie and 3 various shades of what that color, like a picture of a shade of color.
Yeah.
And say within this wheelhouse is where you're going to get close.
When someone says the words, I'm looking for, here's the word, sage. Do you know how many versions of sage
that would
there
be
are?
the time to bring to light the disclaimer.
Yeah,
on
so
color.
you can't just say the word sage and I'm going to say, okay. I'm like, you need to choose from this little square.
And then still add,
what sage that you like.
I will get close.
Listen, the color one, I would hate for someone to have spent so much time with cookies. The client say, you've ruined my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have all been avoided.
I usually say like nobody's died because of
They've not.
color.
That someone says you've ruined my party. That you're a little much.
But we're already upset, so it doesn't matter if you're like, well, I didn't ruin your party. Clearly, they still get cookies. The perception is the problem,
and that's in a very emotional statement. And gets when I have a class in the cookie college, and I tell you, you have to be true to color. So if you're like, I think my sage was a little off from what they wanted, I'm going to edit it to look more on what they wanted, and then they pick up the cookies and it's a different color.
I just left out the photography part.
A class.
Yeah.
Class on photography. You need to be true to color, both in your icing and your photography.
Wow, we got to get right on this.
Except for purple. That's all I'm at.
You know, and I think people are like, well, if I edit the photo, am I manipulating reality? The camera is, the camera at 10 pounds is true because lenses have a distortion to them. Nifty 50 is everyone's favorite because it has the least amount of distortion.
The time of the day you're taking the photo.
So if you have if it is a golden hour, you're going to have yellow tones. So that's why I think everyone kind of, the white balance, if you get your white balance right, that's probably the truest color of those cookies.
But you can your cookie in front of you and the photo you just took of it, you can line those up pretty good, especially when you have both.
That would be ideal what to do, right?
Yeah.
So to get the image as close to the cookie as possible, but to have already said, listen, it's going to be close. It will not.
Right.
But don't say I'll try to. Say it will not. It will not be exactly that.
What you don't want is to take the photo, send it, and them to be like, what?
Please rebake all of these. Yes. And then you say, well, and then you come to Sugar Cookie Marketing Group and say, this client doesn't like the colors. What do? Guarantee you they're going to client bash. So we're going to have to lock the thread anyways. But you're going to have to say, hey, what would the policy say? Well, I didn't have a policy set. Well, what we're going to recommend is you didn't have a policy set. You've given the client elbow room.
My number one thing that I hate that people comment is don't send them the photo. Listen, if they have the cookies in their hands, it's not going to change the fact that they're not happy.
Corey's sales pitch on sending the pre-pickup photo is that it gives you time to fix it.
Gives you time to fix it. It allows them to have a better picture of your product.
So you're pro pre-photo.
Absolutely. I've done it. It's only
That's
saved
be
me.
My podcast poll today.
Oh, team. Oh, great. I'm going to see. So
turn off the comments. Sometimes when I just want a yes or no answer, turn off the comments. So we can just get the cleanest form of it. Because what happens, you beautiful people, is when I ask a yes or no question, you guys find these little alcoves of loopholes for the question.
Yes, but when it comes to purple.
Yes. Sometimes on Tuesdays I send pre-pickup photos, but otherwise on Wednesdays I don't. Another one, handmade disclaimer. Now this is an Etsy favorite. Handmade things have inclusions. Much like diamonds from the earth.
Or sourdough bread.
Sourdough bread. So it is important, and it also adds a little authenticity that handmade means very unique. No same cookie has come out of the oven twice. Adding that disclaimer, it allows you elbow room when the client says this looks a little too handmade.
Yes. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, even the most proficient bakers who've been doing this for years upon years upon years will have a scribe fall into a cookie. Will not have the most perfect flood ever.
It's little swirly things.
Little swirly things. What is that?
Like when you pipe and then I can see that you went around in the direction you went around until they come in.
Separate. Here's the thing. You have to tell them, it's not going to be picture perfect. A lot of times, bakers edit their photos.
Picture perfect.
It'll be in between what the photo I took.
But yeah, so the handmade disclaimer.
I have a client that just emailed me.
Okay.
Confirming that you're still able to do. See, that she emailed me saying, confirming
means
that
you
you're
didn't
still
do
able to
something.
do. What? Did I say I could do it?
Okay. Dial
Oh,
back
let
in.
me just. Oh, I've never said that to her either. She just assumed.
It is actually perfect timing. We'll get down
Okay.
to that
All
in a
right.
minute.
All right.
Follow-up. So here's a great one. I see this one happening. It also makes me feel extremely weird
Yes.
when I don't hear from the company I bought something from, right? So a great example of follow-ups, and Corey had a great version of this. So some people are really on top of their schedules, and they're placing the cookie order 5 months out.
Yeah.
What happens when somebody places an order 5 months out? That means they're very organized. They're very, very structured.
Yes.
When they send the message to the baker, and the baker's like, okay, cool.
Sounds good. Love it. Can do the
Great,
theme.
thanks, bye. And you never hear from them. What's going to happen is what you've just experienced with a customer's like, hello, just making sure you're
Where they're
still here.
uneasy and they're doing your follow-up for you.
Yeah. So when you have clients constantly checking in on you,
Listen, I never told her I could do it. She's assuming the sale.
when you have clients checking in on you, it likely means there's a gap in your follow-up pattern that you need to fill.
Here's the thing. Oftentimes, when you collect someone's money so far in advance from their order, they feel this uneasy feeling like, where I just stolen from? So what you would have to do is set the expectation, hey, I'm going to collect payment today. Then you're not going to hear from me for 4 months.
Yes.
Until 2 weeks but good Lord.
Did you see the new TikTok trend when somebody stutters and you have to kill them because they saw it?
2 weeks before your order, then you hear from me a week before your order, to set the expectation so they're like, I don't have to feel like I've been stolen from.
For an example, Corey and I went to the sourdough bread class. We signed up months before. I remember you asked me to send her class was in March. And you were like, it's so funny. I didn't hear from her until the day before class.
But I did get a confirmation thing.
Right, when you signed up.
Yeah, but I totally forgot, like, the day of the class.
Yeah, so what I like to do for our cookie classes is if the class is always on Saturday, they hear from me on Monday.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes you were last class you were a little bit late. It was a little Wednesday.
You know what, a cookie class kit needed to drop, so I had to push it. But what I like to do is message them outside. So Eventbrite does have its own reminders. But I'd like to say, hey, listen, this is me. Actually, I email as you. This is Corey. And you're going to hear from me today. Then I message them on Friday. Classes again is on Saturday. So on Friday morning, I say, just another reminder. I'm excited to see you tomorrow. And then you know what? To make this easy on myself, I actually schedule them all out on the Monday.
Yeah.
So on Monday, I send the email. I schedule the Friday email and actually schedule the Saturday follow-up email.
Yeah. The thing is, you just don't want to leave it up for interpretation. You want to make sure that I think over communicating is better than under communicating. So if you're like, hey, just want to just touch and base, it's my monthly update.
Yes.
That's totally fine. And it's appreciated on their side.
Yeah.
Even if they don't even respond. Sometimes if it's so far in advance, I'll be like, no need to respond to this. Just want to let you know you're on my calendar.
A tip here, and I use it, is a tracking software. I know, right? A tracking software that tells you when an email's been read. And I know that you guys who use Square Invoices can see that, but oftentimes we're communicating through Gmail.
Yeah.
I use, which one do I use?
No, they changed the name recently.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But anyways, the one that we use, sorry, figure it out yourself. I can see
Send us an email. We'll see if you brought it.
Yeah, I can actually see it. I can set the notifications to send me a notification anytime someone checks an old email, anytime someone checks an email frequently, and when an email has not been read
This
or
has
replied
saved
to.
us in our day job. You can see like
I can say
opening at a
about to
rapid
get upset.
rapid rate.
But what those tracking softwares do in Gmails, where it integrates, is it really allows me to see like where has this client ever opened this email, the odds of them knowing that. So then I'd escalate it. How can I reach them another way? So that's that. If you're worried about your emails going to spam.
That's true. And then if you see it, sometimes it'll put a little fire emoji and be like, this conversation's hot.
I hate that.
And that's because they're opening it a lot. So what you could do is almost use that and be like, hey, customer, just checking in.
Sometimes
Felt the vibes in the air.
I'll use that feature and someone's like, I was just thinking about you. No wonder.
It takes a little guesswork out of there.
You indeed were. Refunds. Okay, this one actually, somebody in the college had asked about this last night, saying, I don't have a clause for refunds. And their husband was like, you idiot. Something that was nice in that. But if you don't have, listen, here's the thing, right? You can say no refunds. It's cookies.
Yeah.
But you're allowed to bend that rule. The refund, the rules, the disclaimers, the terms of service are the bad guys. That we can either choose to be the bouncer of our rules, or we can say, hey, listen, I'm going to make an exception this one time. So something with refunds is either saying it. Like, I referenced that one friend I had that had a cleaning company. He said, if you're not happy with your product, he used refund as a marketing tool. He said, if you're not happy with your clean, not only will I refund you this clean, I'll refund you the double the price.
Wow.
That would make me feel very comfortable.
Yeah. If I get a new client and I'm like in the sales process with them and I haven't closed yet, we're like 100% money back guarantee. If you don't like the cookies for whatever reason, keep the cookies and keep your cash.
That is amazing. So, okay. And then we have people who are like, well, I don't believe I should have to. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to be in camp, no refund, you again have to set that expectation before the client wants a refund. When you do not set the expectation that you are a no refund baker and the client does have the problem, you don't have many legs to stand on. What you're going to face, and welcome to this world of chargebacks. I didn't realize how chargeback works. I've done it once in my life and I lost it.
Yeah.
Nope. What happens is when you charge back a company, the credit card company goes to the company and says, you need to prove that what they're telling us is what you said. So if you're saying, if you have, and it says screenshot emails, we want to see places on your website that say this. If you're a no refund baker and somebody does a chargeback and you have no proof to show them that it's a no refund, guess who's not? And you got to pay a fine on top of that.
A lot of people right now are being like, that's so far. That'll never happen. Here's one thing that will happen to you.
Everything.
When you take a deposit and the customer ends up canceling and they ask for their deposit back and you never set the expectation, it's not wrong.
Buddy.
This is the same pricing one.
No, I'm a no refund baker when somebody wants a refund. We have clients get mad when they're like, there's no cancellation policy and I need to cancel.
This is still the money side of it.
We had really our two lists are very close.
They're very close, very close. Everyone's frustrated about
yes. We were just trying to say, is the baker frustrated or is the client frustrated? In the no refund ones, you say, I'm not refunding. And the client's like, where was I?
I didn't know that was a thing. This isn't what I ordered.
I was trying to get new workout clothes. I've been wearing the same workout clothes for 4 years, right? It's about time.
I can attest.
I can, I even say, wow, you guys have put in work. I'm working out. You're putting in work. I went to go buy some clothes, right? It's kind of hard to find your size. All over the internet. I've been.
Oh, you went on
the internet. Yeah, no, you have, whatever.
Are you going to give me these shirts of yours?
No.
You don't like them.
I haven't tried them. I haven't even brought them on a bike yet. I'm still inventing my workout attire. When I went to this one website and I had gotten targeted in an ad, expanded the comment. Someone's like, hey, just so you know, there is a no refund policy, even if the company sends you the wrong size. Wow. And so then I'm reading the product. You can kind of filter out the product. No, they don't filter out the reviews on these products. There's a lot of people saying, hey, I ordered a size large and I got a size medium and I can't return it.
Oh, see?
And it really makes me not want to buy it. And I'll be honest, I didn't. Because what if I don't?
What if it doesn't fit?
I know. And I cannot return it. Yeah. So anyways, that's if you're no refund baker, I just would think in my mind, that's such a harsh policy.
But see, then you're going to have people not say it.
Here's the thing. If that company, the clothing company, had refunds, I'd never use it. I'm never going to mail something. I'd rather donate something than return it. But the fact that I can't return it makes me leery.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me honestly wonder, are you not letting people return it because they don't like it and you know that? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Now you saying that, you're going to have bakers who are going to be afraid to say, I'm a no refund baker. I'm just going to leave it at the bottom of my contract and hopefully they don't see it.
If you're no refund baker, you got to bring that to light. You got to bring it up to the front. But I think you won't because people don't like that.
They don't like it.
Right.
But I feel like if you're confident with your product, you'd be like, I'm a no refund baker. But listen, I've never had to take anyone up on that because I've been able to knock it out of the park every single time.
That would make me feel better.
You would feel so much better.
Or maybe just be a refund baker.
I always say 100% money back guarantee. Keep the cookies. I've never had someone have to take me up on that.
Let me ask you, if you were sitting there saying that and your competition was sitting next to you and I'm the client and the competition says I'm a no refund baker and you're telling me I get my cookies and my money back, who do you think I'm going to pick?
You're going to pick me. But then you'll have bakers say, well, you're just opening the door for people to take advantage of you.
How many refunds have you made?
0.
Okay.
On that, yeah.
Because I know you made a refund because you counted wrong.
Yeah, I did.
So I just say, if you're coming to this podcast and looking for marketing and sales strategies, having the loophole that people can get out of a product they don't like makes them more confident in buying from you.
And if you're getting a weird phone call from a weird number,
Oh, that's the wheels on sun.
go ahead, put on pause.
Sorry, I'm back. I curved my wheel on Friday,
Sorry.
and I'm getting it fixed on Wednesday.
Heather curved her new car's wheel.
Got a little fancy. I've never been so sweaty in my life. Back to what we were saying.
Where were we saying? Go to the next one.
Okay. We're still on Baker's getting mad. Oh yeah, we were on the refund pedestal.
Okay.
We were looking down from our refund high horses. Fully explain that the invoice is required to reserve your spot. This one gets people bit in the butt the more than any one of these.
Because the expectation isn't set when you're originally talking to the customer. You get like little buddy with them in the conversation, and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to send you the invoice. Okay, you send the invoice, then you don't hear back, but this order is due in like less than a week. And then you're like, okay, waiting to hear it. You need to pay the invoice. And then they send it like the day before the order's due. And you're like, oh my goodness, I'm off the creek without a paddle.
So what this needs to say is, at the time when you send this invoice, and almost don't be afraid to be very repetitive in business.
Yeah.
When you send the invoice, every time that invoice is sent to the client initially, say to book your date, this invoice has to be paid. Or if you want to say cutesy, say, hey, the minute this is paid is the minute you're on my Google calendar.
Here's the thing though. To a caveat to that,
if it's not paid by,
I cannot guarantee you will have an order on the books. It's first come, first serve.
Yeah,
first
if you're not
paid,
paying
first.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is you guys are sending the invoice in deep in a hyperlink that takes you to a Google sheet is a disclaimer that says, if you don't pay, you don't have a date reserved. Nobody's reading that. Again, at the end of the day, they're there for us to reference and screenshot to the chargeback companies.
Every time I see it in the group, someone will be like, it is on my invoice, but did you point it out?
Here's the thing. If it's on your invoice, they would have had to click on the invoice to see it.
Then they'll say, I've seen that they've opened it.
Okay. Listen, guys, at the end of the day, these are our little life jackets for you if you're drowning there in the ocean of your policies and lack of communication. What we see happen so often is that you guys have a back and forth. You're busy. You're not doing any FOMO. You're not doing any, hey, listen, I typically book up 2 weeks out, so get this paid by then. You're just saying, hey, yes, I can do that. Here's the invoice.
Yeah.
That's the extent of the correspondence. And then you're busy and you're going to go back to your life. What happens is the client is busy as well. They never saw that. All they saw is that the invoice was sent. A lot of times, you can pay an invoice whenever and still get the product. Outside of baked goods, it's a normal thing.
Right. If they're new to it, a lot of times they just assume I'll get to it when I get to it. I've already talked with them. They said they can do the order. So I'll just pay it
for
before
great example,
it's due.
This wheel repair company, I'm paying them after the services are rendered. So it's a very common thing that I don't even need to worry about the invoice until after. So suddenly with home bakers, we're kind of switching it up a little bit where we're saying, hey, I'm not gonna lift a finger until this invoice is paid, which is I'm 100% behind that. But you have to also include, if this invoice is not paid, your spot is not reserved. And that would need to be communicated almost every time. I would say it too many times.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So what happens is, what we see is someone says, hey, listen, I ended up booking it out. They ended up paying the invoice. Now, all of a sudden, you have to also deal straight. For every refund you process, you're losing money. Just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
For every transaction that comes in, you lose money. And for every transaction that goes back out, they charge again.
Yeah.
It doesn't reverse straight fees.
I know, crazy.
Anyways, so you say, well, now I have to, one, take more time out of your day. You're going to upset them because now by the time they pay that invoice, there's no options for them. If they're paying it so late that you're booked out, everybody else is booked out too. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, well, my policy said, but that still didn't deter the upset client where the communication has a gap in it that they weren't aware of this. And when I see this, I'm on both sides. I think the baker is right. I wouldn't have lifted a finger until I got paid. How would you expect me to go get the ingredients if you don't show? But on the flip side, we live in a world where the customer usually doesn't have to pay until after the meal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is one that I see in this group gets bakers really upset, is that the client was in the wrong, but unfortunately they're also in the right.
Yeah.
What are your options then? You refund them, sure. They're
or
upset.
You're staying up till 2 a.m. making an extra dozen.
And no rush order. Because the baker's like, well, I would have charged rush fee at this point.
Yeah. It's so hard. And to get that conversation out of the way while you're still doing that very jovial back and forth. Like when a client first emails and I email them back, we have a conversation going. It's like, okay, they email me, then I email them, to let that little where I have their attention fully go. And then hopes that they see this smoke signal of it's not booked until it's paid.
One thing I did when I was buying this car that I finally curved the wheels on, great, is every email I sent, I said, just for my records, in the bottom of each email, I'm going to include the specifications about this vehicle, including the price.
I'm going to tell you something. If I ever got a cookie inquiry from somebody like you, instant book. Instant, I am booked for whatever day that you need. Something.
Whatever. Because what I wanted in that, I hated dealing with dealerships, is they kept trying to change the price on me. But I kept saying, oh, that's not the price. You see right here, it's the price we agreed to. The little right here, the little
Here's
price
a screenshot of you saying
the
this.
little pricey price we agreed to. That's not the one you're sending to me now. So something I would do is almost at the end of every email and be like, at the end of every correspondence, if that's a message or an email, that includes the invoice link, it also must include, just so you know, this would have to be paid to get you on my calendar.
How about
like that.
This?
Okay.
Put it in your email signature.
Yes, that's a great idea. But that's in every email. Like, hey, Mom, just so you know, the invoice must be paid.
You should be emailing your mom for your personal account.
Hey, Mom, just make
I had
sure.
to put my address in there because I was forgetting to send
That's
my
a great
address
one. Let the footer of your email, the email signature, do the work. If you want a link to your policies in there, nobody's gonna read this. Just I'll let you know. I have that email tracking software. Also tells me when somebody clicks on a link in my signature. It's happened twice, maybe in years. They're not rating it. Okay, we have bakers get mad about upset expectations. That's a rough one.
Oh,
man.
wow. Should I?
Upset spectations. Yeah, punch me. No show for porch pickup policy.
Listen,
so
this is me. This is me, man.
When I help Corey for porch pickup, I always include this disclaimer.
La, 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 la.
Yeah, if you don't pick up in the window, no sweat at all. We won't be here, but we'll donate that product to a family in need, which Corey usually gives it away in a local community group to kids or something.
It's rare.
It's rare.
It is rare, but
if it's not communicated,
then I'm left holding this DIY kit. I think it's separating by the day.
In the emails that I send to class attendees, of which I send 2 ahead of class and 1 after, the 2 ahead of class says, hey, just so you know, after this point, you can't get a refund. You could still get a class credit if you have COVID or something. Yeah. But if you do not show up to this class, there is nothing I can do for you. Yeah. So please try to send somebody else to take your spot. I'd be happy to teach them, or send somebody just to pick up your supplies.
Because the last thing I want to do is babysit your cookie class kit that you did not come. And then I feel like I can't
the anxiety
toss it.
of, when is this person going to reach out to me?
If they reach out to me in a week, now the quality that I so swear by, that my cookies are baked fresh, is gone out the window. So what? Now I have to rebake for them? Now I'm losing money on this?
The odds of somebody not showing up to class, low, never zero. I think in our classes we've had quite a few people and they just do not come. They do not communicate. They do not even follow up. And I'd like to think they don't say, well, we're going to kind of get this, because they already know I didn't show up.
But you're going to have, if you don't say it, then you have to assume that maybe they could pop up in your inbox in a week saying, oh, I'm sorry I didn't make it to class. Something arose. Can I get my DIY kit?
If you have a custom set and the person, a lot of times I'll see this. Somebody will place an order for a custom set for a big life event. The life event gets canceled. Yeah. Okay. When I got these very specific cookies, but it was not disclaimed anywhere that you're getting the cookies regardless of the life event getting canceled. Then I see bakers kind of scrambling, and they'll like, what can I say? And you can say, well, I'll hold them in the freezer for you.
Till
when? The life event repeats itself. So you've got all these wildly loose ends where you don't know what to do, but you still want the money. You've rendered the services. Probably the set is really cute, but now this person.
But it's got a name on it, and now
Yeah. I mean, imagine, and in this world it could happen. You have a birthday set for someone's great-great-grandparents who passed away. Yeah. They don't need the cookies anymore. If anything, the cookies are now a harbinger of sorrow.
But for your start, let's go on a little happier now. A lot of times people order cookies for a big vacation and it's going to be a cruise.
Oh, the cruise.
And the cruise maybe it was moved up, moved out, canceled.
Just keep in mind that happens. And what we see is the bakers run to the group and say, I bake these, I deserve the money. And they do.
Yeah.
But the client doesn't want them anymore.
Yeah.
And I can't resell them. They have somebody's name on them. Yeah. So what are you going to do? So that's when you're going to have wished you had those policies set ahead of time.
My biggest thing that I still suffer from time to time is people pay a lot for custom orders. They do. And I feel like, okay, we agreed at 1:30 that you'd be here. And now it's 2:00. Like, where are you? I don't feel like I can put the cookies out in the rain because you did pay so much, but you're now eating into my day.
Right. It's a rough one. It's a balance because if you listen to this podcast, you're going to like, well, then I have every email, just have my cookie contract pasted in there. That would be a ridiculously long email. I had to go to the DMV the other day. I want to be like, DMV, used for fewer words. Like the 3 pages to learn how to check in.
You know why? Because someone did it wrong.
Written in blood.
And
I understand policies are written in blood, but I want to say as a baker, you can't just barrage people with but you also have to incorporate it. And that's why I think finding that sweet spot where you feel
what I need to say to my clients is, okay, I have you set for 1:30 pickup. If for anything that, traffic happens, totally get it. If it's after 1:30, I will no longer be available. You'll find it in a baggie in the trash out front. You'll find it on the porch in this box, and here's the cookie care instructions.
Wasn't it a couple of years ago someone said like a squirrel took it? Like, didn't a squirrel take it? And then there was like a problem with that. Gotta add your squirrel disclaimers, guys. Listen. So then we have on the flip side. So that's when bakers get frustrated and they're ending up in the group. But now we have the client side where the client gets frustrated for something that the baker did. And that's we haven't even
covered that. We're just now approaching this.
Skipping to it. You have taken many from it.
I have taken.
Right. So response times, this wheel repair company is actually a great example of really solid follow-up. Yeah. So when I filled out the form on their website, they had an autoresponder that said, you will hear from us on our first business day open. That would be Monday. So I submitted it on Saturday. On Monday, what if I did not hear from them?
Did you hear from them?
Yeah, immediately. Before I woke up. They had already sent the quote. When I said, hey, this quote looks great, let's do it, they said, you will hear from us via phone tomorrow. Our number is a 188, so don't hang up on us. Yeah. What a great. Do you know who to call me? The next day? This company. Now, what happens when the client gets frustrated is you have an autoresponder that says you'll hear from us in 24 hours. You're busy. It's the weekend.
Absolutely.
The clients, you set the expectation.
They're ordering for cookies 5 minutes in advance. So, like, you don't need to get to them tomorrow. But your autoresponder said you would. I'm saying, like, in your mind, you're like, it's not good. They're not going to lose sleep over not getting an email tomorrow because their
expectation was set by you.
Yes.
So if your expectation, your autoresponder on the weekends need to say, hey, I'll get back to you on Monday. Or if your autoresponder needs to say 48 hours instead of 24 hours, do that. Give yourself some room to look like the hero. Don't put yourself in such a tight box that you look like the villain.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So if you find that, like, so Corey, example, that person reaching out to you, they haven't heard from you and now they're feeling
uneasy.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the true issue? Why are they reaching out to you?
It was my fault.
Okay. So the client's like, hello. And if you find that you have a lot of clients saying hello and you're like, well, they just need to trust that I've got this. No, something about your communication timeline is skewed for them. So what you can do is say, hey, and this may lose a sale. What you don't want to do is say, you'll hear from me in 2 hours and you take 48. But at the 2 hours, you were the best baker because you were the most responsive. Yeah. And then you're actually the worst baker because you never replied. You want to give yourself some elbow room, still competitive in your space. You'll hear from me quickly. But if you're not able to maintain that expectation you set, don't set it.
I would also say, my business hours, and that's why there's business hours. Or you Google my business on your Facebook page.
Everyone likes to do. I'm always available. No, you're not.
No.
You're sleeping.
9 to 5, you may get an answer from me between that.
But I can't get an answer past 4:30 from Corey.
Also, it's really great if you take orders from an order form. You can turn off the ability for someone to submit something when you're going to have to turn them down anyways. A lot of bakers don't want to do that because they were like, oh, maybe I can fit them in at the end. eventually you're going to have too many orders in a week. You can't do it regardless of how much money they're going to pay you. It's nice to turn that form off so you're not getting orders that you're like so busy making your other orders that you can't even respond to these people to tell them you can't take their orders. And I will say sometimes in the busy season, specifically in December, I'm so busy that sometimes I let that I can't take your order fall through. And I have to just put my mind in the mind of that customer. They're never going to reach out to me because I have not shown them that they're valuable to my business. But I'm busy. They have to understand I'm busy. No, they don't. They do not know that.
I'm only thinking about one car on Wednesday, and that would be my own.
Absolutely.
I don't care. I don't care if a Ferrari had a curb wheel.
But you have to think that those customers are gifting you the chance to bake for them. And you think like, oh yeah, I'm so busy. It's not an excuse to them because they think they're your first and one customer.
Yeah, exactly. Be excited about it, but set your own. If you can't meet your own expectations, you have the problem. But a lot of times I see people get pretty defensive. Like, well, but no. You set the expectation. Just take accountability. Say, oh my goodness.
In the sugar cookie marketing group, it always is like, yeah, but then I got busy.
But yeah. But then somehow that group will find a way to blame that client. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you accidentally fed their cookies to a squirrel. They'll be like, the client should have known squirrels are ornery.
And me and Heather are not heartless. We understand that there's these muddled lines. You know, there's a gray area where baker, you are right. But then customer, you are also correct. But in a situation, both people can't be right and be happy.
And one stands to lose more than the other.
It does. Just because of the fact that they can go to a local community group, they can be your biggest, worst advocate. They can be, for every time someone asks for a baker, they say, don't choose so-and-so.
That was the podcast we did on the modeler who had this person who's like, my new life's mission is to dissuade
and
people.
To have someone so vehemently against you.
Corey will be, you said the other week, like I got somebody who's very post happy and they placed an order with me, and I am worried that if this doesn't go right, it'll go exceptionally wrong.
I get worried when I see big commenters in groups order from me. Because I'm like, if I mess up,
I got a big commenter.
I have a big commenter.
So, and is that right? Is it right that the client, I saw that someone on TikTok was expanding common phrases that have been truncated and it changes their meaning completely. Yeah. The customer is always right in terms of taste is what the rest of the phrase is, I guess. Yeah. Because the customer isn't always right. But we don't want an angry customer.
I had a big customer. Not big customer in groups. Like I had emailed her and then she sent me an email right after and I didn't get back to it in 24 hours and went into the group and tagged me. Corey, did you get my email?
Is she from the cookie college? Clients get mad about no follow-ups leading to the order. Now, we've already touched on this one. This one is very disconcerting to me when somebody says you'll hear from me and I don't. When someone doesn't say you'll hear from me and I also don't, I am just as anxious because I'm thinking you forgot this order for sure. So now I have the awkward thing of saying, hello, just checking in.
That's when
making sure I'm
my
on
car
the calendar.
was done.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Corey's car from this collision center, they had just forgot to tell her the car was done. but then the rental company was like, okay, well, we're just going to start charging you now. And Corey's like, why? And they're like, because your car's done. You're just joyriding in our vehicle.
And I'm like, what? Hey, hello, is my car done? Oh yeah, it's been done for a week. When are you going to tell me?
So are you going to leave him a good review? I almost think you wouldn't be able to find it in your soul. I don't think you're going to leave him a bad review.
They won't. I'll be a person in the wind.
If you get another accident, would you take it back there?
They did good work minus the time. I don't know. No, not to that location.
So there you guys go. So follow-ups leading up to the order, even if you're not communicating anything other than the fact that you have not forgotten about them, it goes a long way. A lot of times you guys don't configure your autoresponders, so I don't even know if you got my form.
I did. I was actually snooping on a local baker's page.
Creeper.
Yeah. And usually most bakers have 5 stars. So when it's not 5 stars, I'm like, oh, let me take a little gandy.
Mean creeper.
I really want to take a little
nosy creeper.
And one of them was like, it says, hey, if you're going to buy from this customer, make sure that you
buy from this baker.
Oh, buy from this baker as a customer, that communication and lack thereof is okay with you. I was ghosted by them. So, like, it wasn't even about the product. You were literally getting a review on
what a
just the
shame
communication.
that some of the best service providers are thwarted by their own lack of communication.
I know. And it happens to the best of us. I hope you guys, Heather has left people on red for like 3 weeks.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
You said it was my bad. I should have gotten it back to her. I don't know. You had
Me?
some. Yeah, you just said it the other
Absolutely.
day. It's not above anybody. Life is busy. So you're not this one-off person that like, oh man, that's me. No, it's me and Heather.
Do you think the squeaky wheel gets the grease?
Yes.
So we should
Unfortunately, I had to raise my hand about the car. Had to call him, like, can you fix that? We're trained to be the squeaky. You're like, oh, I have this annoying customer. They're the squeaky wheel. They're trying to get the grease. It's because in other aspects of our lives, we've been trained that the squeaky wheel does get the grease. So these squeaky people that are ordering from you know it because it's worked for them in other aspects.
I'm not allowed to judge here because I do not write back to emails on time.
I know.
Okay. Oh man.
Oh, it's something that we're working. We still work on, and we've been in business for it feels like forever, and we still
add another forever to that forever. I was loitering in a detailing group. Why? I don't know. I was thinking about getting into it as a hobby, and this guy was like, hey, I'm not converting any leads. But he screenshot his text, which you guys know. If you're conducting business through text message, you already lost me.
Yeah.
But it was like the person had said, hey, I just want a wash on my 2007 Toyota. And he was like, that'll be $200. And the client replies in all caps, why is it so expensive? And I said to the guy, I said, your pricing is probably, it's irrelevant, but it's probably competitive. I don't know how much these details cost. But I said, what I don't know from your half a sentence is what I'd get for $200.
Yeah.
So I rewrote it and I said, this is going to look like I went over the top. This is going to, but I said, it also shows enthusiasm. It sets expectations. And then you add a FOMO, like I usually book out by Monday. Would you like to put this on the books for Thursday? And, you know, like some of the people were like, yeah, this is selling the sizzle and not the steak. And somebody's like, I hate that you wrote this, but I would buy from you.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I hate sales, but I would buy it from you. I wouldn't buy it from the guy. So it kind of comes up with that whole, why am I talking about this?
I don't know. But I love that you said you set the expectation and then just hitting someone with facts is not, I don't know. We could tie that.
Always be closing.
Always be closing.
Hey, back to my list. No pricing transparency. This is Corey's. I like it too.
This is sometimes I'm guilty of it. Someone emails. You love their theme. Mm-hmm. You email back. You guys are getting giddy about it. You're becoming BFFs. You're making your friendship bracelets for this customer, but you never hit them with the price. Okay. Then a week goes by and you're like, oh, I've never like hit them with how much this will cost. Like say if you didn't want to, a lot of people do I don't want to take your money right now if the order's in 6 months. It gets too far out. And you're like, what if I hit them with the price and they don't like it? Like I just hype them up for this order. You have this anxiety thing
where they now have no other options.
Yeah.
They do want to go from you, but you've withheld pricing because you knew it was going to be an objection.
Yeah. So what you got to do, get it out of the way. You
got to get it out of the way, but validate it. So back to the details.
Oh,
right?
there you go.
$200.
It in. Yeah.
If he said $200 in smoke removal, I said, listen, I don't know how much cigarette smoke removal is, but let's just say, like, find a price of what it is at dealership. I'm sure it's over $500.
Yeah.
Say, I can do an interior and exterior detail plus smoke removal for $200 just to do a pricing comparison for you. That's $500 just for smoke removal at a dealership. I don't know how much these details are, but I need you to tell me and then validate it in my head that I'm making a great decision.
Oftentimes, I'm getting into the mind of bakers. Oftentimes, us bakers have less self-worth than what we're charging for the cookies.
That's when you get shy about quoting.
You get shy about it because you're like, am I worth $80 for the set? I'm so nervous that they're going to reject me because I'm going to take it personally because I feel then that I'm not worth the $80.
Trickle over there into psychology and attachment disorders. I like it.
I know. It's because we all suffer from it.
Nobody wants to be told no.
No one wants to be told no. I want you to be as excited about the order as when I tell you the price.
Yes.
So we put it off. And then we get worried like, oh my goodness, I'm going to hit them with this high price tag. What if they say I'm not worth it? That's why I would say rip the Band-Aid off, get it out in the first sentence.
But then spend the next 10 sentences explaining why it's worth it.
Yeah. Made to order, matching your colors, freshly baked, highest quality ingredients.
You're right. I always kind of think about like getting your roof replaced, right? You get it done every like 17 years, some obscure amount. Like the cicadas pop out, and then you need your roof replaced. Like those are the two things. But like the roofers are like, yeah, it's $17,000, and you're like, okay, I'm not shopping around a lot for roofers. I'm just trying to hope that the first guy puts the roof on.
Here's the thing, though. You're gonna have customers that say, wow, that's a lot of money. I was hit with it last week. She's like, wow, that is out of my budget.
That's not wrong.
And you know what? I didn't take it personally. She didn't say like, Court, you're not worth a single cent.
Right.
No, she said, that's just out of my budget. And I'm able to compartmentalize and be like, the cookies are outside of her event budget. Not that, Corey, you are worthless.
Yeah, I think your cookies are crappy. And
Yeah.
you should charge.
Yeah,
less.
no. She thinks my cookies were so good. She inquired about them.
Right. So when you take that perspective shift is that she's trying to make this work, then guess what you can do when she's like, that's not my budget? Can you find common ground, either less cookies, more simple design, or whatever you want to do, smaller sets or whatever, you could find this common ground. She wants you. The person asking for the roof wants a new roof.
When you are a newer baker, and every lead does matter because it's potential to grow your business and you have the availability.
I don't think the leads ever stop mattering.
No, they can matter a little less when you're busy. But when you're a new baker, you're just starting off and you get that lead and you're so excited. And then you get so worried that the price is going to be the objection. You are not alone in that. It is something that even the most experienced bakers that usually are booked out, but then maybe not booked out in January, the slow times, the J months, you are not alone in that. But I promise you, ripping the Band-Aid off and telling the price sooner in the conversation than later.
It gives you more elbow room to address it, to address objections or cut them loose or find a common ground.
When I sold cars, it was the goal was to run their credit before they went out to the lot. And you're like, why? Wouldn't
so
you
they
want them
didn't
to
get
fall in
sad?
love with a car? No, you can't. They can't fall in love with something with
They have
can't
to
afford.
love their budget first.
They have to love their budget first. Me knowing what they can't afford, I can show them things that they can fall in love with.
Right.
If they fall in love with something they can't afford, it's not going to go anywhere, but all of our time is wasted.
Yeah, I don't think if I walked into a dealership and be like, you know what, I like that Ferrari. And you're like, no, you're not going to be taking that Ferrari home. We've looked at Navy Federal. And then I'd be like, well, I hate Ferrari. I'm not hating Ferrari.
Yeah.
I hate myself. I hate myself that I can't have a Ferrari.
Yeah. So what you want to do is set the expectations at the beginning of the conversation. And if you guys are so far with your numbers, you're charging 100, they were expecting to pay 20.
DIY kit.
DIY kit. But you've also saved yourself from having this entire long conversation, all the time and money spent in that conversation because time is money.
There's a sweet spot for everything. And where you've added enough value that you know the conversion should happen, but not long enough that you're now like cause this issue. Right. You can't just say, hello, I started at $500. Like you've got to warm them up. You got to have that little bit of that candor, but then you've also got to always be closing. You got to kind of bring it around. And you can kind of see when someone's there to kick tires and when someone's there to really spend money.
Sometimes we forget the mindset of new bakers, and I don't want to ever forget that feeling of those first few orders that came in and you're so wanting them so bad.
You charged too low.
Oh, my first order?
I think you lost money.
I basically paid her. I even delivered those suckers for free.
How much can I pay?
I said, when I delivered these, I said, oh my God, this is not for me. I said, gotta get out of this industry.
You gotta think of it the other way is they solicited you. You didn't solicit them. Moving on, the delayed disclaimer. When someone's like, well, I'm not really happy with the color. Well, if you check my terms of service that are 5 clicks
that you
away,
agreed to when you placed the order,
you'll see that, and that's why we say bring to light when you see that somebody's kind of leaning into this policy you may have to implement. It would be important to bring it. I always say, like, what did they know before they paid you?
Yeah.
What were they privy to? What information did they have before money exchanged hands? Because that's all that matters.
Yeah.
If you hadn't communicated that there's no refunds, or if you hadn't communicated, I throw your cookies away if you don't show up on time. If you hadn't communicated that, guess what? You don't get to really do.
You don't get to throw away their cookies if they don't show up on time.
Well, you can be like, well, I'll throw away my cookies anyways. Yes, you absolutely can do that. But at the end of the day, now we're risking that bad review.
in my little form that Heather made me, it was a genius little checkbox at the bottom. To submit the form, you have to check these 4 boxes. One is that, like, after 10 minutes, you're going to be charged $10 a minute or something.
It wasn't that ridiculous.
You have to be on time. But you have to check, I'll be on time. So when someone comes through my form, I feel so much more confident about that order.
And it's not that these are additional to the terms of service. These are the most common problems I think you're having, is that people weren't showing up on time. That I think, was it what the dozen starts at? Like, it was something like,
just you sending this is just an inquiry. It is not that you are booked.
Yeah. So Corey had these 4 things that I think you had this, like, I'm worried that they're not understanding them.
Yeah. So instead of just being like, please refer to my terms of service, it's you're clicking on these 4 things to submit the quote, but that I know you clicked something.
Yeah.
But you're clicking to the 4 things that I have really big issues with.
If you told me, if I don't show up to class, I don't get a refund, then you're likely not going to hear from me if I don't show up to class.
Yeah.
I already know I already know.
Yeah.
But if I don't know what happens if I don't show up to class, you're likely to hear from me because I won't.
Well, I don't know. Can I get my money back? It was $100.
You didn't shut the door, so I'm going to walk on through it. So setting those expectations ahead of time, which is why I do include that. Like, if you don't show up, I include a couple times, like, hey, please try. Even if you got to show up late, I still want you here because I can't do anything after class ends. Mm-hmm. So kind of, and it's being like, we're on the same team here.
We're on the same team. Only a few times have we had to have that awkward conversation with someone like, yeah, I didn't make it out to class.
One time I was in class and this lady's like, there's an accident. I am literally a witness for it. She wasn't that close to it, but she was like, yeah, I'm not sure if I can make it. And I said, please try, because I got this. I can put this as a DIY kit. I can send you the instructions. She shows up. She's like, thank you so much for giving me a chance. She showed up as class was ending.
Yeah.
And then I said, absolutely. And she ends up coming to a couple more classes ever since.
Yeah.
She was very nice. She signed up for the Halloween class.
I know. She was very nice.
We have forgetting their order. This is when clients get mad that you got busy, Corey. This is a great example.
What?
That you've forgotten somebody's order and now they're getting antsy.
Yeah.
So what happened? Now, this is my worst case scenario. As a baker, you've already taken somebody's money.
Yes.
You've already set there. You do the good follow-ups and suddenly you forget their order and there's no time to fix it.
Yeah. That is a keep you up at nighter.
That's a keep you up at nighter. And that's when you truly have to be the most, I have made a mistake. What can I do to I would say double refund.
Yeah.
You've that's essentially ruining a party, is that they said, I'm coming to your house to pick this up. I've seen a lot of bakers.
I can say just from this, okay, she ordered from me last minute last year. And I was able to she only ordered 6 cookies, so I was able to fit her in. And I made her cry with how much she loved the cookies. Okay, then she placed this order that I forgot to respond to. So even though I made her cry with joy, that is not how she is feeling right now. Yeah. So I just said, I'm so sorry. That is not the customer service that I offer. You will be getting a discount on this order, but yeah, we're good to go for the 11th.
And I could just hear the Facebook group saying, don't apologize. Listen, apologies are validating somebody's experience. It doesn't mean that they're right, and it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Saying, I am sorry that was your experience, let's work through it, is much different than apologizing because you have like a personality disorder where that's totally on me. I had a lady that I said, I will follow up with you a week before your order, and she followed up with me a week and a day before it. No, I don't owe her anything. Like, you beat my expectation, but I was going to follow up with you tomorrow. So what I'd write back to that lady, like, oh my goodness, you beat me by a day. I have you on my calendar to sign up tomorrow. But when you forget it, imagine that you had to address this lady's concerns, this one that just texted you, but you're not allowed to say, I'm sorry. What are you going to say? How is it going to come across? It's going to come across that the client's wrong. Yeah.
That's the problem is, and from our group, someone has taken, don't say sorry.
I think they meant it well and it was taken incorrectly.
People will say, the twins say, don't say sorry.
No, I say sorry quickly and
find the thing is, you don't need to say sorry for being booked, because you didn't do anything wrong. You can say, I apologize for the inconvenience, but I am booked for that. You don't have to say necessarily sorry.
Did you just apologize? I'll take you up.
Yeah, you can say, like, I am sorry to that.
Because you made a mistake. I think sorry is the most beautiful word you can implement in business. It's just taking accountability.
Problem. If you keep apologizing to the same person for issues throughout the word, I'm sorry, I missed your word.
Stop making issues.
But I'm just saying that sorry it means nothing anymore. because you've used it so much as an excuse. They're like, what are you not sorry for?
Well, then you've got, if that's just a symptom of a greater problem. If you're needing to apologize for every step of the way, you've overbooked yourself. Like the problem needs to be addressed months ago. But yeah, if you make a mistake, if you misstep, I'm sorry. I think we did a whole podcast on apologizing.
I know.
It's never too late to apologize.
Your boyfriends love you. And that one on you.
Yeah.
Worked every single time.
You're sorry. Okay, let's try not doing that again. And then you have here, I think you actually already covered this one, the no cancellation policy. When the client says, hey, you know what? Turns out I don't need the cookies. It's going to come down to what information was conveyed before the money exchange.
Here's the one that I run into.
Huh?
The baby came a week early.
That's a good one. The baby's like, nah, your cookie
The baby's
schedule.
here, you know?
Right.
And they're like, oh, so no baby shower. You know, that's where if you had a cancellation, wedding was canceled, things like that, cruise was canceled, birthday party was canceled, someone got COVID.
So a phrase I like that sounds kind of jovial and fun is like, hey, you know, I start sourcing the supplies 7 days out. So that's when there's no turning back.
And the word, I take a deposit. No, I take a non-refundable retainer. No, people are like, deposit means you can get it back. If you say the word, it's non-refundable for this amount, just because it's my prep.
Here's the issue with the 50-50. And I love you people who offer it to clients.
Yeah.
I would like to be your client. But when you get the 50%, you bake the order.
What Heather means about the 50-50. People who take 50% at time of booking to place you on the calendar, and then either they do 50% at pickup or 50% a week before pickup date.
Right. What happens is the person's like, well, I don't need the cookies anymore. We only have 50% of their money.
Yeah.
But you have 100% of their order.
Uh-huh.
So what happens is you're going to say, well, you still need to pay me 50%. It just creates that layer of like, you have to have more disclaimers.
Yes.
That's why I'm pro take their money up front and deal with it later. I appreciate if you want to be more competitive in your space, you're more competitive by doing the 50-50 thing because you're ensuring that the client.
You posted this meme the other day. It was hilarious. And it was like when you already took their money for the order, but now you have to bake it.
Somebody posted that. I think it was so funny.
Here's the thing. I hate taking money 6 months in advance because
it feels like
by the time I already spent the money.
Go.
Yeah. Now I'm working for free.
Right. Yeah, so that's pretty funny.
So what I often do to get around that is I'll keep that money in like my bank, like in that.
Yes, like a little don't touch me until
yes.
you earn
so
me.
then I can earn it.
Yeah, that's a good place. Okay, moving on to text.
Do we have any?
4. Thank you.
Wow, you can
people.
read 2.
No,
you can
I'll
read
read
2.
what I want to read. You're not my mom.
You can read 2.
Hi, I have a background in writing things that are rather formal and dry, but I want my branding to be upbeat and humorous. I try to put my own voice into my copy, but I don't think of myself as being naturally funny, outgoing, or engaging. Do you have any advice for those learning to write the opposite of how I've been doing so for years? I appreciate you both for all the advice and stories I've received so far from the podcast and the group. Thanks, Nikki.
I love that. Sorry.
I'm going to say the easiest option right here is to get ChatGPT to rewrite it.
Okay, but to that
disclaimer.
Okay, when I started doing the bubble letter calligraphy,
Yeah, that 2 days. Yeah, we remember.
I actually do it every week.
Oh,
Thank
you do?
you.
I saw you sign a check and I did not like the font.
Okay, yeah, that was bad. When I started doing the calligraphy, the way that I can see it, because I'm a visual learner, I would Google, like I write my months on this chalkboard calendar in my kitchen every month. Okay. I would Google the word March calligraphy, and then I would see what someone else wrote it like, and from there I could take the parts that I liked and incorporate it in there. If you have someone that you like the way that they write and you're like, that I would really like to incorporate some of the way that they write into my own copy, I would follow their page, look at what they say, not copy and paste it.
You can't. That's an IP infringement right there.
Yeah, but what I would say is look at the way they're writing, things that hit with you, and see what you can write in your own that kind of incorporates their fun way. That's a great way to learn how to do it.
Yes, it is a training wheels way.
Yeah.
There's a couple training wheels you can implement. Just telling someone be funny is impossible. And I would like to let everybody know, if you guys didn't realize, like the stand-up comedians on Netflix, they're going to really tiny nightclubs and stand-up open mics and practicing the material there to see what people like. By the time they make it to the Netflix special, they've already vetted every single joke and know it's going to land. Like that's not just off the cuff. Same with how you write copy is you're going to say, sometimes people will say, can I save this copy you wrote, Heather, and use it as a template? Yeah, absolutely. You can start kind of learning there. You can use assist like ChatGTP, and you can tell it, I want you to write what I'm about to write in a more humorous way, and it will do its best.
I know. But I would hate for someone to lean on that fully.
No. These are all training wheels to figure out your own brand voice. What you don't want to do, and I can sometimes you can look at a client and I'll be like, here you hired somebody, here you fired them, then you took over, then you got busy, and here you hired somebody else. Because you can tell the brand voice changes a bit.
Sometimes I see my exact copy written on some random baker's page. I'm like,
random baker, that is an IP infringement. You're not allowed to do that.
At least throw me a like and a comment.
This is so funny. This Christmas, I was reading this. I was in another cookie group, and it was like this like copy, and it sounded like somebody had ordered cookies last minute, but they were being so overbearing, having to come in, taste the cookies, and then the cookies. He said, I want you to go pick up some milk for this party as well. And then he was going to come really late on Christmas Eve during pickup because he said that's when I make my rounds. And then he was like, and then I want to have them set out by the fire. And turns out the guy is Santa Claus. Yeah. But I'd written it 2 years ago, and somebody had stolen it. And I was like, oh, this is really funny. This is really fun. And I said, why does this sound so familiar?
Listen, in my local community group that I run, I said, hey, there is a lady, and she is having an asthma attack. She's sweating. Don't worry, that's me. I forgot to get my summer body. Hilarious. Someone copied and pasted it in my own group.
I gotta confess something. I am in a bunch of community groups. I'm in a bunch of parenting community groups. I saw this one post and it said, if it gets cold again, I'm just gonna put my Christmas tree back. I was like, that's super funny. So I copied and pasted it into Corey's community group, and it does super well. And then yesterday I was scrolling through Corey's community group, and somebody copied and pasted it with my emojis. And I'm like, we're both thieves.
Why is yours so much more offensive?
I guess I stole it from a man and posted it in a woman's group. I had to defend the person who shared the Santa Claus story. I had given it away, so they didn't steal it, but they were giving it away as well. We were both giving it away. Hi, twins. This is Ashley with Dabble Bakery in Houston, Texas. Sending a text to keep Heather out of the hot seat. I have 2 questions.
Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley. Despite following the rules to prevent my custom Gmail from being burned, I'll explain what that is in a second, my emails from that address often go into spam. How do I fix this? I am sure I'm losing customers because they forget to check their spam folders after I reply to their inquiries. So let's address this one. Yeah. That is email. When you burn an email, you burn the domain. So you say, like my example is hello@heathermiracle.com. I'd burn heathermiracle.com, which means any emails sent from heathermiracle.com are going to spam.
Yeah.
Now, oftentimes the way that ends up happening is either the email was too new, the domain was too new for me to start that aggressive emailing, or I'm not following best practices. Now you can see that Gmail and Yahoo have implemented a change at the end of this past February where you had to add a record that says, hey, this is me. This is me. Do not send this to spam. It's further proof that the person who's running this has good intentions. What I see that often burns that is mass emailing through a Gmail account, even if it's a Google Workspace account. Oftentimes, okay, when I send out the Wednesday newsletter, if you have the tab set up in Gmail, I'm immediately going to promotions.
You do.
That's where I need to be.
Yeah.
That is a promotion. At the end, it's a lot of sales at the bottom of that email. But if you say, well, I don't want it to go to promotion, so I'm going to send it as a personal email, Google's like, no, it's the actions that people are taking once they receive your email that's reporting back. Now, it's called email deliverability, and there's a lot of complexity to it. But when I see, if we're talking just high-level baker stuff, are you sending email blasts through your Gmail? Do not do that.
Yeah.
Are you sending emails that don't need to be opened? Don't do that. Are you getting emails and not replying to them? Basically, every email that you send when a domain is new should warrant and get a response from the recipient. If those people are not opening and deleting it, sending a signal, whatever's coming from this Gmail it's not what the recipient wants.
Yeah.
So that's getting you closer and closer to that spam filter. Oftentimes in like seedy internet marketing companies, they'll have, let's say the domain is internetmarketingcompany.com, but they want to do that cold email solicitation. So they'll create abccoldemailmarketing.com and send from that, knowing full well that domain will be burned soon enough. If they made one sale, that's their game. Right? If they made one sale, it's worth it. But for the bakers where this is very important that your inbox, I would reserve your inbox for that correspondence.
Yeah.
Now you can pay for services that they're actually called warming up your inbox, and they'll make sure that the email sent back and forth to themselves are open and responded to
Yeah.
kind of zhuzh it up. It's not very cheap though. So the best practice is to be very, very strict with how you use that important email address. If you need to send a newsletter, you need to send it through an email newsletter sender like Flowdesk or MailChimp or something.
And the thing is the way you collect emails, if you're collecting it against someone's will and they never wanted to be on your thing, they can report it as spam, you know.
Always a rough one because you say, okay, well, I want to build an email list. Let me build it for my past customers. So now we have a bunch of emails. It could span years of people who may not even live in the area anymore. It's always this risky click. You can punch me for TikTok. It's always this risky click where you're like, I want to build this email list. These are people who bought from me, but what are the actions this person's going to take when they receive that email? Something I always kind of find risky is when people are very not consistent with sending newsletters.
Yes.
I feel like they're getting a lot of indicators. Like when I log into SendGrid, that's where I send Wednesday. I would not use SendGrid if I was anybody other than myself. It gives me a health metric. I'm at 99% based off of the actions. Good. Yeah. So for a long time, I think it's actually kind of resolved itself a bit, but for a long time, AOL blocked our emails.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, whatever. I know that I was inconsistent for a long time as well. So now I feel like we've had such healthy, consistent practices, and a great way that I got people to open the email and click on it is implementing a free transfer each week. So really, if you can see which week I started that campaign, because the open rate and click-through rate was through the roof. I even put it at the top so you can find it. Question number 2. So anyways, for that one, I'd start really assessing your email practices. I would even start emailing husband, wife, mom, and tell them like, hey guys, can we just
if you emailed yourself?
Is it another inbox, like a personal Gmail?
Yeah, I send
your
myself
IPs
email.
are still the same. I'm not sure. I'm not that advanced in it. I just know for every email you send, is it being open, read, and replied to? That's what you want.
What if I send it to myself, open it, download it, but never reply?
An action's taken that isn't spam or delete.
Okay.
Like it's reading a lot of different.
People are like, what are you sending yourself? I send myself like,
Corey, no, I got to call you on something.
What?
I like a clean inbox, right? I opened the cookie classes email and I went to the drafts. Do you know how many unsent emails are to yourself with pictures in them?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I started to leave.
Yeah, sometimes when I logged into the classes one and I'm like, okay, I need these people's names written out. And when I would go to
It's
something,
not, get a notes app. Not something where two people are
use my
reading it.
computer.
2, when reaching out to past clients, what's the best way to be efficient while also making the customer feel special? I've been using MailChimp. Oh, so she's been doing good. I've been using MailChimp so I can have pretty graphics so these emails don't go to spam. But customizing each email to the customer takes so long to write and rewrite names, age, and get the email out. It feels inefficient. If you're using MailChimp, you can use something called mail merge tags still. You know, like if you're old and you had Microsoft and you did a mail merge on it. In these newsletter senders, depending on the information you can collect, you can use a field that will populate with that person's individual information. So for a great example, when people sign up for the Cookie College, I like to send an email to them if they forget to join the Facebook group. I use a field tag that says, hey, first name, you haven't joined the Facebook group. And then I can even go as far as to say, like, hey, I know you joined on date.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is saying, hey, implement this data. What people genuinely think is that, I wrote this to them. It has their name. It has this very specific.
You didn't write it to us?
No, I use a mail merge field. The intention was there that my love is in each merge.
No, you took the time to make the mail merge.
Yeah. Field, I love you. You mean field the world to me. So when reaching out to past clients, so I would say if you can collect that information and create the merge tags, each newsletter sender is a little different, but you can use that to customize each email in seconds. Otherwise, it's exceptionally inefficient to have to change each of those fields.
Yeah.
However, what she's bringing up is when somebody sees their name in a subject line, they are more apt to open it.
Right.
But on the flip side, if you have that many fields to sign up for a newsletter, fewer people are likely to sign up. So for the Wednesday newsletter, I only collect email. So there's no ability for me to do merge tags. I don't have first names.
You're just beautiful baker.
Hey, you beautiful, beautiful baker. P.S. I don't have a favorite twin because I wouldn't be running a successful business without both of you.
Oh, I know, Mama.
Anyways, to answer, just to add to number 2, you can use a CRM program and start collecting that information. Use a CRM program to export the fields that you want and then tell the newsletter sender, I want these fields to be populated across all this newsletter.
So my stomach is growling. Speed this part up.
Okay. Hey, twins. Question on the secondary admin for our Facebook business pages. I hear Heather mention the down low sometimes about a fake second profile of herself. Is this something we should consider doing to use as a second admin for our business pages? I currently have my hubs on there, and he's a Facebook beginner at best, and I doubt his account is very secure. Thanks for keeping me company in the kitchen for being so darn smart.
Tell you no.
Don't.
It will block both of them.
So it is oddly, last I checked, and not against Instagram's terms of service to have 2 accounts, but it is against Facebook's terms of service. So now Facebook has the ability that you can take a single account and split it into multiple accounts. That doesn't solve the problem. They're all still connected to the primary account. So you'd say, should I have a second profile? I think it's really hard to create them now.
It is very hard. I have some. It's still blocked them. And they've been marinating for years.
I think because you share the IP address.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it will help you
Facebook
regardless.
is so good at connecting these gaps that we try to create, distance ourselves from these fake profiles. I'd say tell husband, enable 2-factor authentication. If he's not logging in, a 16-character password of a mix of numbers, letters, and characters, low caps and capital letters, you're set.
Yeah.
If you also add 2-factor authentication, you're doubly set. So if he's not using his Facebook and he's logged in one time, set that up, get him logged back in because it's going to log him out. And I think you're set. But again, the same thing I think is it is precarious to have somebody as an admin who also doesn't practice. Like my dad has this tournament that he kind of runs in his home state. And he is an admin and I'm his backup admin. But my dad is Facebook beginner at best as well. And we were starting to get those copyright infringement texts. So I immediately texted him. I said, you're getting these emails. Just ignore them. He's our weakest link. Yeah. He's our weakest link right there. So if you know somebody that is, I don't want to use the word gullible, but gullible and is willing to click on those phishing scams, probably not best to have them on there at all.
I would say to have someone who does not share the same IP address. So they're not under the same house using the same Wi-Fi.
Fair, agreed.
That a family member, that lives maybe a state away, something like that, where they're not active on Facebook, but they're not sharing the same stuff. Because even when I got blocked and I came to Heather's house, she was then blocked for a week.
I want to tell you guys what Corey's referring to. She got in trouble. I think you had accidentally spelled how wrong. Yeah. So Facebook AI implemented a 30-day ban because it thought it was like she was being a bully. Instead, she was asking a stupid question, not spell checking. And what happened was we have the same last name. She was using her computer from my Wi-Fi, so we had the same IP and the IP address. And then I suddenly couldn't post. Yeah. When I asked Facebook to investigate, they said, we don't know, but the AI decides and there's nothing we can do about it. So I was under this semi-permanent or this semi-30-day ban as well. So that's one thing. Now we're talking about getting your account back in the event that it's hacked. One popular creator lost her account for 2 weeks and then got it back. It'd be the first time I've ever seen it.
Butterfly Bakes.
Yeah, she got it back. But I think you had to have connections. She also had 150,000, 160,000 followers.
I know.
So whatever she did, I'm not sure if she's ever willing to tell. That was impressive. I've never seen people who only have a page of 200 likes able to get it back.
I know.
So then you want to have multiple admins. Let's say you lose access to your Facebook page or someone takes over your Facebook page. Could you get your business page back? A lot of times the answer is no. You could have somebody as an editor role, a content creator role, but not as an admin. They could at least say, hey, we lost access to the page.
What a pain. I have to, my iPhone tells you if your passwords that you saved to your iCloud keychain have been trampled on the dark web. Uh-huh. My dog's Instagram account.
So you got to go change it.
Change it right now.
That's another thing. I like using a password manager. I use LastPass here nor there. 1Password I think is a better. Bitwarden seems to be a fan favorite, but I've been with LastPass for so long, unfortunately. But when I add a password, it'll say, hey, this password's been compromised, or you're using this password in multiple places, or it'll just tell me like, hey, we think you should change this password. It's so old and we don't think that the company was practicing best practices.
Hold on, I'm changing it. Not that
Okay.
I need my dog's account, but whatever.
Hey, twins. This is Q to the rescue. I didn't want Heather to be sad, so I'm sending a question. Thank you again, you nice folk. I use cake cost to create the base prices for each recipe. However, how do you price for more detailed tiers? I've been told by an awesome baker friend that I'm not charging enough for more detailed sets. I just can't seem to wrap my head around a good price to charge for those, especially because I sometimes change direction with the designs while I'm making the sets. Example, I'll be using gold to make the set pop. Any help's appreciated. That is a great question. I'm going to tell you, if you are trying to make a set pop, you should only be making that set pop if your wallet is also popping off as well. I would not add gold unless the client understands and was charged accordingly. So what happens is, my saving grace texter, you did a phenomenal job, but now you're operating at a loss because you want to create the best product, but you should only be creating the best product within the budget that was set. It is awesome to think I'll just zhuzh it up, right?
It's fun to zhuzh. It's great to make content from zhuzh stuff.
Yes.
I saw spell zhuzhed.
Z-H-U-Z-H.
Oh, yeah.
We just talked about this on the podcast.
There was another word. Oh, tchotchke.
Oh, that one does.
Yeah,
it's got
that
a
was
T in it.
insane.
And I. Tchotchke. Wow.
I was like sounding to that.
That word, like what you think it's going to be, and what comes out is the zhuzh of the words. So you're going to say within this tier, this detailed tier, everything should be accounted for, communicated, and paid.
Yeah.
If you come back and say, oh man, I think it should add some gold, the first thing you need to do is say, hey client, I was thinking adding gold. It would be an additional charge. If you want it, great. If not, no sweat. I just think it would make it pop.
Is she wanted to add it for free though?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's saying it she said, I'm changing. Essentially, she's changing the tier as she goes.
It's unfair to the customer to put that on them when they. So if you wanted to, and I've done this in the past, I say, listen, I went crazy and I bumped you up to the next tier because I couldn't help myself.
Toot your horn.
On the house, though, but please don't tell people how much you paid. It's between you and me.
That is very nice of you, and that's when you go. But I would say if you could, I wouldn't be opposed if someone came to me. Let's say I hired a house painter, interior house painter, and they're like, "Hey, listen, we actually think an accent wall would be really cool here. I'm just giving this to you as an option. It would bring you up to this price. Let me know. If not, we'll stay on." But I would like the option.
I know. What up? Because you're like, and then if they say no, you're like. Hate me.
Right.
Yeah, you have to get out of it. It's no, they hate the price tag.
They hate the price. It's not about you. It's between them and Navy Federal. So, okay, what you got to set. And here's what I'd actually recommend for you. You have your tiers set. Now I want you to set a guaranteed price for the add-ons for each tier. That way, so you can just drop it in. Gold is an immediate $10 additional charge, whatever it is. That way you're not like, well, I got more detailed than I should. You can say, okay, boop, boop, boop. Like when you go to a restaurant and you're like, can I add this? And suddenly the ticket's like that addition is this much.
Is always extra.
Right. Guac is extra. So I would say create your pricing tiers and then create your add-ons. And you're always going to spit out a formula of a price that's going to work for everybody. Then the client can say, okay, well, maybe I'll take off gold and save $10, things like that. I would not. I feel like the creative and talented people are also losing money when they judge and don't charge accordingly. But on the flip side, let the client choose what they want to judge, because I think you'd find a lot of people like, yeah, spring free. I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah. When the client doesn't know and you judge and you don't tell them, set the expectation, they can go to their other people that they have and like, yeah, this was the basic tier. I got it for this much. And
you don't
then
want
you get the referrals.
Ridiculously cheap.
And then the people are like, oh, you did this for so-and-so. I was wondering if I could get something similar. And then you come in at this super basic, like 2-color tone.
I like that. Hey, don't mention this. Because then if you truly say, hey, listen, this is on me. One, communicate it. Communicate that it's on you. This was how much the value is. You're eating it because you just want to impress them. But please don't tell anybody else. This is just between me and you.
I always say, like, someone ordered like a basic. They ordered last minute, so they said it could be as basic can be. But I'd gotten my other orders done early, so I said, listen. I said I couldn't help myself when I went crazy with the design, and of course she's ecstatic about it. But I had to say this was not what you ordered.
Yeah. And this is not something you want to set the expectation.
Yeah.
My fear for my rescuer is that they're adding all this stuff. Nobody knows how much it is when I come back and it's not there anymore.
Or you make a set that I actually ordered and it's the way it actually ordered.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, where's the... where's the flashing lights?
Yeah.
And
So
the
either
fireworks?
communicate that you did a solid and tell them not to tell anybody, or charge them and give them the option if they want to upgrade. If you're mid tier and you're like, oh, I think this would make a big. I would love to be reached out to. Somebody's enthusiastic about my cake and you want to add something that you think will really make a difference. And then if I say no, it's not a personal attack. It's just my budget.
And you can kind of tell the people that where budget is a big deal, or people who are like, I don't care, I just want something good looking. And if the budget's a big deal and they're really stressing themselves to even get the basic, probably not the time to add it.
No. That one when you do the solid on and say, don't ask me for this again. The one where they're like, hey, I don't care, just want it to look good, which a lot of people are at when you're already at a custom bakery. Then I would say, hey, listen, I know I can add this. It would be $10. Tell me yes, tell me no. No big deal on my end. And then they can make that choice.
Take us to the sponsors.
The sponsors, we have Addie, the edible food printer. Heather Campbell Berkshire, I have to say all three murder names, took Eddie to an event yesterday, and they were spaghetti. I'm just kidding. It just rhymed. They were just enamored watching that machine.
Oh,
I always
absolutely.
thought Corey and I should take an Eddie. And Eddie is a direct-to-food print that prints on the cookies. I thought it would be so cool to take to class, but then you had to carry him.
You would have to.
I don't think you're supposed to tote
I don't
Eddie
think
around.
Eddie loves to go on field trips that much, but you could totally take him. And it's so cool to watch. I just wanted to give a few Eddie tips from my corporate girly era, if I just can.
Go.
So a lot of people are worried about the Eddie bleeding in the bag.
That's what I've seen.
It is. And so Eddie is great. Sometimes when you put him in a bag, the lines, the beautiful
don't
images.
Don't you dare put Eddie in a corner.
Don't put him in a corner or on a field trip. When you put Eddie in a bag, the image can either become blurry, it can bleed, or it can just disappear altogether into a blob. Here's the things that I have learned that has made my Eddie corporate girly era just great. The cookies that are going to be on Eddie, bake them 30 seconds longer.
So the cookie is harder?
The cookie has less moisture in it.
Okay.
So a lot of people, I'm worried my cookies are going to get burnt. 30 seconds is not going to do it, but it's going to make sure that the butter is no longer buttering in the cookie.
Okay.
It's the moisture caught in the bag with the Eddie print that causes it to bleed. Yes. So if you bake the cookies just a little bit longer, if I know it's an Eddie order, just a tinge bit longer. Also letting the cookies dry for 48 hours.
I'm going to say, if you take a paper out of your printer and immediately run your finger down it, you're going to smear it. The same thing. Eddie is a printer.
And it's on food.
And it's on moisture.
Eddie's part is dried, and a lot of people like to point the finger at Eddie. No, it's the moisture from your icing and your cookie being caught in a bag with an Eddie print that is causing Eddie to bleed. Yeah. We all think that cookies can dry in 24 hours. It technically doesn't dry for 48 hours.
Right.
That is when the cookie is fully dry. But you're so worried. Oh, my cookie's going to
make them fresh. It's a balancing act.
Yeah, my cookie's going to be dry. Listen. The cookie being blocked, the actual cookie dough part being blocked by a whole thing of icing on top.
That's a lot of moisture.
It's not going to make your cookie dry.
This is very relative to people's recipes as well.
True.
Some of you guys have very wet recipes. Some of you guys have very loose icing.
And I will say that I have a very wet dough. There's a ton of butter in it, tons of eggs. Yeah, which is good. But now I've built myself up to have more of a bleeding issue because it's so wet. So those are my things. And then I've never, when I do those two things, I don't even have to do the cornstarch thing. But if you wanted to, dust them with cornstarch the night before you need a bag. And then you dust it off, bag them, you won't have an issue.
Don't do a dry run with Eddie and test your area. Again, even Corey's like, I like the cooler weather. It's easier on my butter bleed problems. So test Eddie before you get into a big corporate order. What you don't want, and what I sometimes see folks suffering from, is that they've done 400 cookies because it's a corporate order and it's a bigger one. And they're all bleeding because you didn't do that dry run first. So run a couple tests. See what it's like on cookies baked the typical way, cookies baked with the extra 30 seconds, cookies dried for 24 hours, 48 hours. See how your environment, and then also understand that your humidity levels throughout the year are constantly changing.
Yeah.
If you want to check out more about Eddie, go to Eddie Printer Users Group on Facebook. It is astounding. You can also check them out on Instagram. They reshare anybody who
they do
who uses
Eddie. A little extra boost in the algos.
I've seen some really cute Easter sets using Eddie to kind of print backgrounds and stuff. Well, I opened Shutterstock today and I saw you got a graduation graphic.
Graduation graphic?
Yeah, like a background pattern. I was wondering what you're using it for.
Probably Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was Eddie when I saw
it. Next is Royal Batch. Royal Batch is the meringue powder that I use. She came to us years ago when we started the podcast and said, hey, can you mention my stuff on the podcast? I said, I'm not going to mention anything I don't like. So she sent me a batch and I've never looked back since. It has been amazing. I will say, For class we had last week, I used Wilton's. Nothing about you, nothing on you, Wilton's people. I love that you love Wilton's. Did separate a lot faster than Royal Batch.
But I also thought the icing was really loose.
Because it's separated.
Yeah.
So, Royal Batch does not
green was
separate.
blobbing out of their discs.
Royal Batch doesn't do that to you. Royal Batch makes you look like a pro in glass.
I find that the biggest thing is people only make the switch when the one they want is run out. Like when they're sold out and they need it quick. So if you're on the I like Whitland's, but I can't find it at the store anymore, maybe it's time to try it. But use code TWINS
to save 10% at checkout.
And that's at bakedybake.com. Really cool product. People that seem to really like it. I'm not the baking twin. I can only tell you what I read.
Yes. I have a mailbag.
What?
Yes.
You went
got
to
got it sent straight to myself.
Oh yeah, I was like, there's no way.
I got a Cake Pop subscription box.
Did you post a video about this?
I did.
That was a very neat little video.
I want to say, okay, if Cake Pops...
How would they find this video?
You can find it on our Instagram, @sugarcookiemarketing_. And it's posted as a reel there. So you can sign up for quarterly Cake Pop boxes. You can choose the theme.
Who is this person?
This is Sweet Stella Treats.
Okay.
Bonnie's the owner.
Bonnie.
Yeah, so you can sign up. I will say, if you are trying to get into cake pops, the biggest and hardest part about cake pops is the dough. A lot of times we add so many ingredients to it that it becomes heavy and it falls off the stick. The chocolate isn't the right chocolate. The wafers that you use, it makes it too heavy, also makes it fall off the stick. That recipe alone that comes with that subscription box is
how much
worth
was the box, did you say?
I don't know. You have to look it up.
Okay.
Depends which ones you sign up for.
Okay.
Was worth it. It was so lightweight.
Is that the one you made for the chicks?
Yeah. Did you think it tasted good?
Yeah, I thought the shell was lightweight. Sometimes when the chocolate shell is too thick, it causes a huge mess.
Oh, yeah. And it makes the cake pop heavy. It will fall off the stick.
Oh.
So it comes with a video and the ingredients so she walks you through it. I'm a visual learner. So watching her make it and seeing what she added to make it work, I did exactly what she did to a T.
The videos are, I want to say, I know you couldn't find her emails, but we were getting them to the hello ad.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
It has the password in it.
No, I found it.
Yeah,
I watched it.
I like her emails in regards to setting the expectations. So it says, hey, Sugar Cookie Marketing, thank you for your order. You can find all your details below. It tells me my address, my email. It tells me my products, how much I paid, and it gives the membership URL. And then she had this cute autoresponder. I don't know if you read it. With the cake pop at the top.
I know.
It says your pop box is being assembled. Like, that's so nice.
Yeah.
When I'm told that something's being assembled for me, it just is like the most relieving thing. Like, you didn't forget.
I know. And oddly, it showed up 2 days after that. It was the fastest shipping ever.
Her workflow is stunning. And then in this one, she communicates the ingredients to expect, the items that were purchased. If you have any questions, contact. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah. And the box was great. It had a QR code. You could just scan it and get to where you needed to go.
Nice.
Fantastic. If you're trying to get into the world of cake pops, because you guys know I'm in my cake pop era, that will give you some confidence in the cake pops that you won't feel like just throwing in the bag.
So that was Bonnie at Sweet Stella Treats. Let me go to sweetstellatreats.com and just look it up.
She also has a $7 cake pop membership if they do monthly lives.
The Cake Pop Camp Course. Learn how to host a pop and good time. Oh, that's so fun. The stuff is so cute. And her website is also so cute. Very nicely done, Bonnie, and you are adorable in your pink clothes.
So I thought that was good. Do you have a twin dress?
Whoa, you came at me so fast.
Do you have mail?
No, I didn't go to that. I didn't want to go to the post office. I feel like it's the IRS time. I had to pay my annual business registration.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's isn't it crazy the government's like, pay us? Yeah. And we're like, no, I don't think I want to. No, you'll pay us or we'll come to you.
Your tax time is approaching.
I hate it.
There's nothing worse than the 14th in my house. April 14th. Nothing worse. I save it to the last minute. Nothing worse. I will be in a bad mood.
I think, what is the 15th?
April 15th. It's always on a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Really? Why do you say that?
Because it ruins a week.
It is on a Monday. So we can
start great. The whole week is trash.
My Twinterest. Did I get into anything? We had a family wedding this weekend. Nothing there.
Well, I have a Twinterest.
Oh.
Kim Sims
met
up with us once and gave us these cookies that were life-changing.
They were delicious. Drop cookies.
They were so, I don't know what's in them.
Salt. I think the salt is just made all the difference.
It's the perfect amount of salt.
Yeah.
So I ended up being like, girl, I know you technically I can't ship, but can I bribe you? So I ordered some. When my husband opened the pantry and saw those, he just saw the stack because it came in the little.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, what do we have here?"
Nate was not eating.
He will eat those. He said they were so good. I forgot. If they can make it till next week, I'll bring you.
They're not going to. I know they won't.
There's 4 dozen.
Everyone's on. Oh, there's 4 dozen. Bring me a tower. Bring me a stacky wacky.
They were so good. Oh my goodness, worth every cent. So delicious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm jealous now. I'm a little hungry. I don't know if I have a Twinterest.
I can tell.
Do we have anything of interest?
No. All right, we are going off to the Cookie College podcast.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Cookie College.
Oh wow, go ahead.
The Cookie College is actually, we have a class. I'll be working on it this week. It'll drop June 1st. The Cookie College gets
June
everything.
1st?
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
Wow, you planned ahead.
It'll drop June 1st, 2026. No, it'll drop April 1st. April Fool's Day.
April Fool's?
But that'll be a grad class. I saw you working on it. It's super cute. So the concept of the Cookie College is you get everything. You get the cookie class kits that we teach, but you also get this Facebook group and you get all these other classes. It's great. But what did I add? Oh, I added all the transfers yesterday. All these baby.
I thought they were cute.
Did you like them? It was hard. I'd never seen a baby before. Sometimes I was like, what is this shape?
I said the pacifier. Wow, that was a hard one.
It was so hard to make that pacifier. Anyways, the Cookie College includes the $2 transfer club, the digital downloads, which have gotten a nice little refresh.
Yeah. It includes the cookie class kits.
Can you not?
Sorry.
Touch that? You've lost your privilege. You can learn more at thecookiecollege.com, or if you have any questions, you can always ask in the Sugar Cookie Marketing group.
So Heather this week is working on the grad class that will drop. Give you enough time. You can use. They're so cute. You can use them
for DIY kits.
Yes.
I think it's great for cookie class
and customs. Absolutely, you'll be ready to roll. It says 2024 on it, so your customers will be excited. The next one, Sweet Pink Olive is sending me. She sent it out yesterday. Is Grill and Chill, and that will be the June class.
And
it's
still on. So July, August, and September we're not spoken for.
Plan this out at all. Okay. If you ask, I have no idea.
I'm just telling you, they're constantly asking me. I said, Court doesn't even answer my phone calls.
If it says, what's a cookie class kit, I will.
Someone said, has she gotten the graduation? Is the graduation set done? I said, no, I don't think she got the colors. And then the next day you were like, here's the set, it's done. I was like, well,
I know, I got it done early. You're welcome.
I'll be working on it this week. We'll be actually beating the clock. And it won't be late. The cookie class kits are great though. Some people have really made some cookie money from them, and I think it's been just.
And we taught the St. Patrick's one last week. It was great.
I thought it was a easy, cute, fun class.
Cute. So everyone was very happy with what they were making.
Yes, they were very happy. The class went well.
It did.
Okay, you can put the desk.
Sorry.